Volume 2, distribution of population by administrative units. That is a second report in the series of the 2019 Kenya Population and Housing Census publication. It presents the distribution of enumerated population for each administrative unit, that is by county, sub-county, division, location, and sublocation, by sex, number of households, land area, and population density. It also contains distribution of population by rural and urban areas of residence. Volume 3, that is the distribution of population by single year, sex, and administrative units. And it presents the distribution of enumerated population by single year and 5-year age group, sex, and administrative units, that is county and sub-county. Then volume 4, distribution of population by socio-economic characteristics, which is the fourth report in the series of the 2019 census reports, and it presents the distribution of enumerated population by socio-economic characteristics. Ladies and gentlemen, a recap of what was contained in volume 1. We established that the total enumerated population had increased to 47,564,269 in 2019 from 37,724,850 in 2009. Again, there were 23.5 million male, 24 million female, and 1,524 intersex in 2019. And we also established that the female accounted for 50.5% of the total population in both 2009 and 2019. The intercessor growth rate had declined to 2.2% in 2019 from 2.9% in 2009. I now present the key findings of the 3 reports. Volume 2, that is the distribution of population by administrative units. The total urban and rural population was 14,831,700 and 32,732,596 respectively for urban and rural population respectively. The percentage of urban population to the total population increased from 24.1% in 2009 to 31.2% in 2019. The most densely populated sub-locations in 2019 were Kware in Nairobi City Council, Nairobi City County, that had a population of 166,517, Tibwani sublocation in Mombasa County with a population of 114,520, Mlolongo in Machakos County with a population of 93,075, Tasia in Nairobi City County with a population of 88,874, Molem in Nairobi City County with a population of 88,039. Again, the most populous urban centers in 2019 were Nairobi City with a population of 4,397,073 persons, Mombasa with a population of 1.2 million, Nakuru with a population of 590,674, Roiro with a population of 490,120, Eldoret with a population of 475,716. The findings for volume 3, That is the distribution of population by single year, sex, and administrative units. And what we note here is that the following, what I'm going to present is the distribution of population by age. And the clarity here is that we are considering here both conventional and non-conventional population. Conventional, the population in households, and the non-conventional, the special population. So the population that is aged below 35% was 35.7 million. That represented 75.1%. That is in 2019, compared to 30.2 million in 2009. Children, that is a population aged 0 to 14, constituted 39%. Adolescent 10 to 19 years were 11.6 million, or they represented 24.5% in 2019. The youth population, and we define the youth as the population between 18 and 34, were 13.77 million, and they constituted 29% of the Kenyan population. The population of the working age, that is 15 to 64 years, was 27.15 million and represented 57.1% in 2019. The elderly population, that is 65 plus, was 1.87 million persons, and this represented 3.9% in 2019. Turning now our chief guest to volume 4, the final volume we are releasing today, that is the distribution of population by socio-economic characteristics. Here we look at broad thematic areas. Education. The total population aged 3 years and above were at, that is those who were at school or learning institutions, was 17.78 million, representing 40.7%. The proportion of population recorded to be in school learning institution in 2009 was 40%. The population attending pre-primary level was 3.27 million in 2019, compared to 2.3 million in 2009. The population attending primary level was 10.028 million in 2019. The population attending secondary level was 3.403 million in 2019, compared to 1.798 million in 2009. The population enrolled in middle level technical training, vocational training centers, TVET, was 506, 109 in 2019, compared to 325, 196 in 2009. The population enrolled in universities more than doubled to 470,983 in 2019, from 171,855 in 2009. Turning to the labor force participation, the total conventional population aged 5 years and above was 41,235,190, that represented 86.7% in 2019, compared to 32,478,570 in 2009. The active population aged 5 years and above in 2019 was 22.298 million, and out of that, 19.5 million, representing 88%, reported to have worked in the last days preceding the census, and 2.7 69 were seeking work. The conventional population that was aged 15 to 65 was 26.86 million, and out of that, 19.7 million were or are in the labor force. The conventional population for the youth aged 18 to 35 was 13.6 million, out of which 61% were working, while 1.6 million were seeking work, or indicated that there was no job available. The number of children aged 5 to 17 years from the conventional household population was 15.866 million, and out of that, 8.5% reported to have been engaged in an economic activity during the 7 days preceding the census night. Then we established that the inactive conventional population aged 5 years and above was 18.9 million, but out of that, 16.1 million persons were full-time students and 1.5 million were homemakers. Turning to ICT, ownership, the use of selected ICT equipment and services, the population aged 3 years and above that owned a mobile phone was 20,694,315, representing 47.3%. The proportion of individuals aged 3 years and above that used internet and computer stood at 22.6% for internet and 10.4% for computers. The population aged 15 years and above who searched and bought goods and services online, that is the e-commerce, was 1.24 million, representing 4.3%. Turning to disability, we had a population of 918,270, that is 2.2% of the population aged 5 years and above that had some form of disability. More females than male had disabilities, and the common types of disabilities were physical and vision. The number of persons with albinism was 9,729 persons, or 0.02% of the population aged 5 years and above. On religion, majority of the population, 85.5%, were Christians, comprising mainly of Protestants at 33.4%, followed by Catholics, 20.6%, and the evangelical churches at 20.4%. Muslims accounted for 11% of the entire population. On ethnicity, in 2019, the 10 most populous tribes were Kikuyu at 8.14 million, Luyas 6.823 million, Karenjin 6.358 million, Luos 5.066 million, Kambas 4.663 million, Kenyans, Somalis 2.780 million, Kisis 2.703 million, Mijikenda 2.488 million, Merus 1.975 million, Masais at number 10 at 1.189 million. While the least populous tribes were the Halo at 575, the Kenyans, Americans 596, Gusha at 685, El Molo at 1,104, Konso at 1,299. Turning now to the housing conditions and amenities, The proportion of conventional households using mains electricity as a source of lighting more than doubled from 22.7% in 2009 to 50.4% in 2019. The proportion of conventional households using solar as a source of lighting increased significantly from 1.6% in 2009 to 19.3% in 2019. The proportion of conventional households that owned the main dwelling unit they occupied was 61.3%, while 38.7% rented the main dwelling unit in 2019. Again, about 94% of the owned dwelling units were constructed by households, while 2.8% were purchased. The proportion of conventional households using clean energy for cooking, that is LPG, electricity, biogas, and solar, was 25.4%. And the proportion of households using piped water increased from 30% in 2009 to 34.2% in 2019. Turning to agriculture, the number of enumerated households during the 2019 census that mainly engaged in crop farming, livestock rearing, and aquaculture was 6.4 million, or 52.3% of all the households. And of the farming households, crop farming was practiced by 87.4%, and livestock rearing was practiced by 74.4% of the households. Maize production was the predominant crop cultivated by 80.3% of the agriculture practicing households, and this was followed by beans and bananas. The main 4 livestock kept by households were chicken, and we had 38.8 million chicken counted. Goats, we had 28 million. Sheep, 19.3 million. Cattle, 15.8 million counted. Our chief guest, our intention is to disseminate these reports widely, so we will conduct regional level dissemination to reach a wider audience. That is volume 5, the distribution of population by geopolitical units, which we are going also to release very soon. And we have embarked on the production of 20 more in-depth analytical reports, which we also would be reading in the next 6 months. So as I conclude, ladies and gentlemen, I wish to thank the government, development partners, the private sector, and the public for the overwhelming support and participation in the implementation of the 2019 census. I want to thank my board, the board of directors, for effective guidance during the entire census process. I also want to thank my staff for their sacrifice in ensuring that the reports are produced within the committed timelines.